back, Star Wars maniacs. It's your boys from Rule of Two Podcast. As always, I am Sean, and I've got my lovely host here with me, Aaron. Aaron, say hello.
Hello.
And we've been gone for quite a while, but we can't wait to get back into it, man.
Yeah, I think I looked it up. The last episode was May.
So what? May. So let's talk about where we've been.
2019
what's been going
has
on,
been
man?
a crazy year. We had Star Wars Celebration, which was awesome.
Yes.
I finally went to Google I/O, which was also awesome.
Fuck you.
The two of us went to France. That was sweet. Got to see the women's national team win the World Cup. We didn't see the final game, but we saw a game or two.
A couple.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I had a wedding, which was, busy times. And in between there, I helped make an app that is, a little tiny app.
You made an app, you say?
I did, yeah.
You did make an app.
I'm an Android developer.
What was the name of the app that you made?
You might have heard of it. It's called Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
Yes. I think this is the first time we've mentioned that I am on the Disney Plus team and have been for a while. So it's exciting to talk about it. Exciting to see it out in the wild.
Yeah, it'd be exciting if I'd heard of it before, but it doesn't really sound familiar.
Well, it's kind of unfortunate because you haven't heard of it, which means we really have nothing to talk about since you haven't seen the show that came out on Disney Plus.
No, yeah, you've been hard at work on the Disney Plus app, and which is kind of the main point of our conversation today, sort of, because we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian.
Finally talking about it.
Just wrapped up recently.
Yeah, we just finished watching it just a little bit ago.
Yes, and what a season it has been.
What a season, yes. Well, before we get into that, why don't we, this is the holiday season, Christmas is just a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Did you get anything cool for Christmas? Any Star Wars related?
I did, yeah. I got a Black Series replica of Luke's Starfighter helmet.
Nice, that'll go nicely with your Poe Dameron replica.
With my Poe Dameron replica, right, exactly.
We actually just re-seen the Luke's helmet actually in Rise of Skywalker.
We did.
We'll talk about that later. But,
we did. Yeah, more to come on that later. But yeah, we had Rey donned the helmet of the old Red 5.
You think that was in the cockpit as well the whole time, just chilling there, spiders and shit?
Well, it was underwater, so I don't know if there's a bunch of spiders underwater.
You don't know what kind of creatures are inhabiting that planet. Ochto.
That's a good point.
Ochto, something like that. I don't know.
Anyway, Yeah, we saw the helmet reprise its role recently in the newest movie, which we'll get to a little bit later. But I got a replica of that. I got an Instant Pot, which is a pressure cooker, but it's shaped like R2-D2, which is nice, which is pretty sweet.
I love my Instant Pot. It's not a Star Wars Instant Pot, but it still cooks.
So it's stupid then.
It is stupid. Yeah. They have a bunch of those, don't they? They have like Darth Vader ones and.
They did, yeah. They had
C-3PO.
Yep, and there was talks about getting me the Darth Vader one, but it didn't. It didn't do the justice to the character like the R2-D2 one did, because it's it's kind of shaped like R2-D2. It's easy to tell that it's anyway.
Yeah, otherwise people would be like, "Oh, that's a cool black Instant Pot."
Right, exactly, exactly. That was really it in a way of Star Wars themed gifts.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
I actually believe this is the first Christmas in my 30 years of living that I did not receive a Star Wars gift.
Well, the holiday season isn't over.
That's true.
And I do still owe you a present, so
what a dick. I can't believe you didn't give me one. I got you one, and you won't even open it.
You know what? Because I don't have one for... All right, you know what? I'm not going to get into this right now. Let's talk about The Mandalorian.
So, Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Overall thoughts?
I think, it was the best Star Wars that we've seen in probably decades since the original trilogies, in my opinion. I'm a huge fan of Rogue One and Solo. I do also love the prequel trilogy, but this one's just on another level from what we've been seeing.
Yeah, it's been really fantastic about giving us new content when also like paying like some of that fan service too. Like we got a lot of throwbacks, we got a lot of cool things that like brought all the original Star Wars fans back into it, as well as some new stuff for some people who may not necessarily be into Star Wars, including probably the best contribution Mandalorian has given the entire world, aka Baby Yoda.
Yes, very much so.
And Baby Yoda was a cultural phenomenon all on its own.
It was. and we'll get into some of that. First, let's kind of break down, kind of go episode by episode, see, kind of talk about the plot line of each episode and some of the Easter eggs and all that we've seen.
Yeah. So let's see. The first one is where we get introduced to the main plot of the whole thing, right? Is where the Mandalorian takes on this bounty, which we end up finding out is a little baby Yoda species of some kind.
That was a complete shock to me when it first happened.
Yes.
Well, we're first introduced to the Bounty Hunters Guild, which I believe they've referenced in past Star Wars, but they talk about these tracking beacons and these pucks that they get, which is pretty cool. And in the first episode, we see him utilize the carbonite freezing, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I never really quite understood how the carbonite freezing process worked, I guess. I mean, the way that they depict it in episode 5 is quite a bit different than how they're doing it in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I actually just rewatched episode 5 in preparation for, rewatched Rogue One through episode 8.
Yeah.
Just for the Rise of Skywalker. And in episode 5, no one really seems to know whether or not it's going to work. It's almost as if that's the first time it was ever used.
Yeah.
Because even Boba Fett, he says, he's no good to me dead.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So it seems like kind of a newer thing. Obviously, at this point, it's much more of a perfected process.
Yeah, which would be only about 9 or 10 years later. So, I guess 10 years is a long time. Because from my understanding, Mandalorian is 9 years after the Battle of Yavin. Yeah, so that's 9 ABY, which mean it would be about 4 years later.
I was gonna say, yeah.
4 or 5,
which is super interesting to see that whole aspect of it. We get another taste of the IG unit and what it's capable of, which was super cool
awesome
to see that thing kicking fucking ass.
I haven't seen anything IG related, I think, since Shadows of the Empire, the video game.
Yeah,
back in the N64 days, that was some awesome shit. So to see him come to life again, because we've seen him live action in episode 5, but
he doesn't do anything
in the background.
He just stands
there.
That,
and that was actually kind of funny because that was how do you pronounce the name? Takiti,
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi. Sounds like a Jawa's name.
Taika Waititi.
He's been directing a couple of the episodes, and he's the director of the Thor Ragnarok, I believe.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Does a voice in Thor Ragnarok too. He's Korg.
Yep.
The rock monster. But yeah, that was really cool to see the IG unit in action, fucking destroying bitches.
We're also introduced to one of the first memeable characters. Something he says, which is Quill, who is voiced by what's his name?
Nick Nolte.
Yeah. So, we get to see him and all that he has spoken. So that's pretty cool.
The I have spoken Ugnaught, which I had my doubts as to whether or not he was actually an Ugnaught at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't think I really caught that until later.
No, we'll get to that later. But at one point, the Mandalorian calls him Ugnaught. And I was like, oh, I guess he is an Ugnaught. Interesting. But yeah, we get his lovely, charming personality.
Yeah. So then, and with that episode, it kind of just wraps up by him finding the target. You know what? We totally forgot one of our favorite characters that we're introduced to, the client.
Oh, the client, the Imperial German client who just has one of the best voices
ever. I want him to narrate everything.
It's pretty awesome listening to him talk. And the whole reveal at the end of the episode was crazy too, because we learned that the target that the Mandalorian's after is 50 years old.
And a man with his talents should be able to find him with just the age and last known location.
Right. He should be able to make quick work of this. And 50 years old, and we find out, it's a baby Yoda species. 50 years old, and it's still a baby. It's really cool to get an insight into how that species ages. Clearly, we knew Yoda was 900 years old, but aside from him being old as shit, we don't really know that much about him or his species.
Yeah, and this episode really left me with more questions than anything. Right? I mean, it was the first episode, which kind of makes sense. But first of all, Yeah, he's 50. Okay. So if he's 50, still a toddler, Yoda's 900, then, if, say, 1 year is 50 years, like one of our years is 50 baby or Yoda species years, Yoda would only be like 18, 19.
Yeah.
I don't really get it.
Yeah.
Maybe they, like, the IG-11 does say species age differently, so
right.
maybe he skyrockets in intelligence or something at some point.
I mean, like maybe the next 5 years is like his teenage years or something, But I'm super interested to find out more about that. We also get a larger education on Beskar.
Yes.
And it's been, I feel like we first heard the term Beskar, or maybe it wasn't the first time, but it was brought up in Rebels.
Yeah, no, it's not the first time. I think, don't they mention that in Knights of the Republic even? I think it's kind of old canon as well.
It's been a while, I guess. But we get maybe a reintroduction of Beskar and how awesome it is.
For those not familiar, Beskar is the armor that Mandalorians use. It's lightsaber resistant. I was looking up some things today.
I didn't know it was lightsaber resistant.
And they kind of, I guess, because we'll talk about this a little bit later, but they do bring up Jedi and about how they were enemies, right?
Right.
So I was reading that they actually kind of built their stuff around being able to beat Jedi, right? So and that's kind of how they are what they are now.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, obviously it's blaster proof. Didn't know it was lightsaber resistant. That's interesting.
And then the Beskar was all gathered by the Empire in what they call the Great Purge,
right?
Which resulted in many of the Mandalorian people being killed.
Yep. Which is why they now have to operate in secret.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's pretty much episode 1.
Yeah, episode 2, we get more of a insight into what this little baby Yoda can really do.
Yeah, we see him in action. So it starts out with him going back to a ship, I believe, and then it's all torn apart, which is essentially scrapped for parts.
The Mandalorian ship.
Yes, the
Razor Crest.
Yeah. Which we'll talk a little bit more about his ship a little bit later. And yeah, so we find that it's all torn apart, and it's because of those little fucks the Jawas.
Right. Yes.
We get to see a real live, like, large and in charge sandcrawler, and that was pretty cool.
That was super dope. And what game was it? Was it Super Star Wars?
Super Star Wars, yeah.
It's like a straight out of a level of Super Star Wars when the Mandalorian's trying to climb up the sandcrawler, and
they're popping out the side and shit.
Yeah, and trying to like shoot him and hit him and whatnot. Sweet little throwback there. What's the? I'm getting a little ahead of myself. What do they call the egg? What's the little egg chant that they do? I
don't remember.
Shit.
Can't remember what it's called. It's all like a furry egg. But the point is that they stole his ship. The Mandalorian wants the parts back, and they say that they want his armor, his helmet, right? I think they want his helmet and his guns, and he says like his blaster's his religion.
Right.
Can't take his helmet off.
Right.
And so they say they want this egg of a creature, a mudhorn egg.
A mudhorn egg is what they're after. Yeah. So he has to go.
We
don't know what a mudhorn is. They chant some sort of Jawa word that means egg.
So long story short, he has to go find this egg, and it belongs to a mudhorn. And this mudhorn is a large creature with a giant horn, kind of like a rhino, but even more crazy looking.
Right. It's massive. It's all covered in fur.
And that mudhorn fucks the Mandalorian up, dude. He gets wrecked.
Fucked him up, dude. He probably would have died.
He would have died.
Except not for his little traveling companion.
Yes. Baby Yoda shows that even being a toddler at 50, he still has the power of the Force. Because he stops the mudhorn dead in his tracks, and the Mandalorian shoves a 3-inch knife that somehow kills the giant beast into its neck.
Which, you know what? I was paying attention to this a little bit more. Is that a vibroblade?
Might be.
Because if you look at it closely, it is vibrating. You can see it vibrating. And then in an episode, like an episode or two later, when he, again, getting a little bit ahead of myself, but when he like gets to that confrontation with the other Mandalorian, and they both pull out knives, both of their blades are you can see them vibrating. So I wonder if it's like I wonder if it's a vibroblade, and that's why he's
Is that
able
why
to
they
just
call it a
stab it.
vibroblade? Because it vibrates?
You know,
I
we
always thought it
probably
had,
should have
like,
done more research on that before this, but I don't
We just
know.
wing it.
I'm
That's
kind
why
of
we have like 7 listeners. Actually, because we don't record. That's why we have 7 listeners.
But I think that's what it is, if I am not mistaken.
I'm not really sure, but so to me, this was kind of the first filler episode, right? Kind of like a side. It reminded me of like a side quest in a video game, right? So he's off. He has to go back to return the guy or the child, the baby Yoda, and instead he has to go do a little side quest to get the egg to get his parts back. It reminds me of a video game. I'm not complaining about that. I think it's kind of cool, personally.
I mean, it kind of felt that way throughout the whole season in a way. Some of the episodes were like, oh, you're going on a new mission, and then you're going to do this other mission, and then you're going to do this other mission. It felt like you're watching a live version of somebody playing a really awesome video game. However, we did get to see Baby Yoda fuck this mudhorn up and really understand, like, oh, this thing can use the Force pretty fucking amazingly.
Yeah, because again, the mudhorn was not tiny. It was a big creature, and he stopped it dead in his tracks, lifting him up off the ground, and it, gave the Mandalorian all the time he needed to kill the thing and get the egg.
The egg, the suka.
The suka.
Suka. And then those fucking little meth fiends hack it open and go to town like it's a fucking drug war.
And that's all they wanted. They just wanted to break it open and like not even all of them got it. Like,
no,
there's no way. There wasn't that
brought
much
this egg back. They hacked it open and they were just fucking gobbling down this nasty fucking yolk.
But I did like that episode and that we got to see, the inside of the sand crawler. The Mandalorian was sitting in the cockpit and it's very tiny and he like bumps his head. Just a lot of that was, I don't know, just
things that we haven't really
attention to
seen
detail,
before.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Is to me one of the reasons why this show's been so good. And we'll talk about another episode that goes into that a little bit more in a few more episodes.
So they repair his ship. Him and the little Ugnaught repair his ship, fly off, and then this was one of the best episodes of the season, in my opinion.
Oh, chapter 3.
Yes, because then he goes back to the planet.
Starts with an N.
Narv, whatever.
Novigrad. Wait, no, that's the other.
Whatever the fuck
series
the name
that we're watching.
Whatever.
The Witcher.
Whatever the fucking the name of the planet is, he goes back there to deliver the asset to this little baby Yoda to get his prize.
To Wana Hozog.
Yeah. Wouldn't you agree? Goes back, delivers the little baby Yoda, heartbreaking scene, obviously.
And that's one of the things that in these past 2 episodes that the Mandalorian is doing really well is that they were really getting you attached to just the Mandalorian as a whole. They got you attached to these new characters, and especially obviously Baby Yoda. Everybody is in love with Baby Yoda.
Yeah,
he's adorable. He's touching things, touching knobs, taking that little knob off and wanting it in Mandalorian.
Just being the cutest thing we've ever seen. In
cutest
television.
goddamn thing.
So he delivers Yoda, the little baby. He gets this massive stack of Beskar as a reward, and we're like, dude, why the fuck did you give that baby up? But whatever. He got the Beskar, and damn, what a baller ass scene when he comes out like strutting with that full set of Beskar armor, dude.
We didn't talk about in episode 1 is, we touched on it, but the like underground Mandalorians and how cool that is, and how they're living in secret, and they mention at one point only one can go up at a time,
right?
Which is weird because he doesn't. Is he the only one that goes out? I don't really know. He doesn't seem to follow that part of the rule. I don't like.
Yeah, that was a little unclear to me, but there's obviously a whole clan of Mandalorians living in secret in this sewer underneath this town that apparently nobody knows about. That's kind of how I took it. But so at the beginning of the series, he has his helmet, and then he gets a pauldron. What's that what they're called?
Something like that. Yeah.
Whatever. Made of Beskar steel, the Beskar armor. The rest of it is,
pieced
whatever,
together,
tattooed on scrap metal, whatever the fuck it is. and then delivers Yoda, gets his reward,
Takes
which
it
is
back to that badass armor lady.
shitloads of Beskar, right? And he has an entire fucking amazing suit of. He basically looks a lot like Jango Fett does in episode 2.
Yeah, and apparently, I mean, I think they mentioned that it's so much Beskar that it's going to be able to make his full suit and then still have enough for the foundlings.
Right.
Which is cool. With foundlings being...
Basically a shitload of Beskar.
Yeah. And foundlings being part of the... not necessarily Mandalorians, but people found by Mandalorians.
Yeah,
right?
and it's like part of their like their religion or their belief to like if you find someone who's in need, it's your job to like take care of them.
Yeah.
But he gets the armor.
And then he goes onto a ship and he's about to take off, and then he
fuck this, I got my
touches
reward.
that knob,
I'm out.
That Yoda.
The
that
lack
baby
of the knob.
The lack of the knob, and really just gets hit in the feels. He's like, I can't do this.
Super hard, right in the feels.
So then he goes back to save Homeboy.
And just fucking wrecks house.
And goes to the Imperial thing. And remember, in the Imperial, in episode 1, they said, it's 4-1. And he said, I like those odds. And obviously,
Clearly, we know why, because he just destroys
now he has the best
all
car,
of them.
so it's like not even a competition. What were those? There was something extra. I forget what they called it. It was like a weapon that she made. And he ended up using it.
Something birds.
What was that?
There were like a bunch of like little needles that shot out of his wrist attachment that were like homing. Little tiny homing missiles.
Birds. I don't know. Either way,
whatever the hell they were called.
That was really cool to see him use that. He went in and just wrecked shit, stole Baby Yoda, killed all these people, all these stormtroopers.
But now that he stole the bounty back, we find out that every single member of the guild had a tracking beacon to find this asset. The Mandalorian was the only one who was able to actually do it because he was getting attacked by all kinds of guild members to try to get this along the way, including a couple of Trandosians when he was on that planet with the Mudhorn. But all their tracking beacons get reactivated, and now they're all on top of his ass, and he's about to get fucked.
So he's trying to leave the city, and Greef Karga, the Bounty Hunter Guild, boss on that planet, the guy that the Mando talks to.
The leader of the guild,
Apollo Creed.
Right.
He kind of stops him and tells him to hand over the child, and he essentially says, go fuck yourself, Apollo. I ain't doing that shit. And he starts firing, and, he's kind of trapped. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, right out of left field,
fucking Mandalorians
come out. They're like, you know what? Fuck this.
Kick fucking ass,
This is the way, bitch. This is the way.
That was so dope. Just to, like, see all of them. I guess we have in, like, some of the cartoon shows we've seen Mandalorians.
So it was really cool to see them. The only time we've seen a Mandalorian use a jetpack is to go from one skiff to another and then hit the fucking big skiff and fall into a Sarlacc pit. That's the only time we've ever seen a Mandalorian use a jetpack. So.
Untrue, because Jango Fett used it when he was fighting Obi-Wan.
Although
they aren't really Mandalorians, technically speaking.
They're not. Well, yeah, you're true.
But either way, baller ass scene. Mandalorians come,
and it was
kick a bunch
cool
of fucking ass.
When he was in the Enclave with the Mandalorians getting the armor, a giant Mandalorian guy is all like, "Yo, like, why does he get all this? Like, he's helping the enemy. They try to kill us all, and then he's helping them out." And there was a little bit of a confrontation there, right? You mentioned that he pulled open the knife and all that shit. And he's there fighting along with them, saving them, saying, this is the way.
Just fucking clearly a bunch of badasses. That episode was really sick. My favorite episode up to that point. Yep. So after that is when they go to that planet where he meets Cara Dune, right?
Yeah, this one's called the Sanctuary, and he goes. I believe he's just going to find a remote planet to just chill. And
he's got this baby. He knows like the heat is real right now. He's got to lay low.
Yeah.
So he's going to this secluded place. He thinks
and
where
this starts out
there.
with these like secluded people that are
fishing village of some kind,
some sort of primitive type of folk that don't really get out. They just farm their lands and live.
Right.
That's it.
Right. So he goes there to chill.
They get raided, and he's nearby, and they come. Well, so that's just kind of setting up the episode,
right?
And then he's chilling in a cantina, and sees a badass chick that he, I believe, recognizes. Do they know each other?
I think the assumption is that he thinks that she is a guild member and she is there to fuck his ass up and take the baby.
Yeah.
And she also thinks that he's a guild member there to bring her in as a bounty of some kind because she's wanted, because we find out that she is a drop trooper. Former
shock drop trooper or something like that.
Well,
she would get dropped in. She was just like a shock trooper.
Yeah, but that was shock drop troopers were different because those were a part of like the clone army, and she was part of the Rebel Alliance.
Well, they probably were similar. Yeah.
Either way, she's a drop trooper who fought against the Empire, ex-soldier, clearly badass, who's played by Gina Carla, something.
No, I can only think of Giancarlo Esposito.
She's former MMA.
Yeah.
She plays
Gina Carano.
Carano. She plays the badass chick in Deadpool.
Yeah. Oh right, I forgot about that. Yeah,
yeah, like she's awesome. Like the super strong tank bitch who like
character, if you ask me,
destroys Colossus.
So they have a little
they have a scuffle. Dope again. Another dope ass fight scene. There's a lot of like fighting, like a really good fighting scene.
Yes, but that fight scene ends with probably the cutest thing Baby Yoda's done all season, which ends with him just sitting there drinking his tea like a little soup, like a housewife, like reading, opening up the door for the first time.
This I wonder like what the record is for most memes the show has given to society. This has got to be up there. This has got to be up there.
So the Mandalorian gets poached by these primitive folks to help them out that they're getting raided all the time. And
by some species. I don't remember what the species name was, but they also live on that planet.
And he's just like, well, maybe I can lay low there for a little while if I help him out. So he does. And this is the first time that we see an ATST be something that looks like something you wouldn't want to come across. Right. It's the first time an ATST is actually menacing and terrifying to see.
Right. Yeah.
So these bastards have a fucking ATST chilling around with these dark red eyes and shit.
They've clearly come across like ex-Imperial gear and equipment that's been left behind for whatever reason. And it is extremely menacing and terrifying to see. And it also was kind of hilarious to me because they kept talking about how there's nothing on this planet that can take that thing down. Except trees or
sticks,
rocks and sticks.
I don't know. Do you guys have any teddy bears?
A bunch of the little inconsistent there, I think.
But it was very cool to see. I don't remember how they bring it down, to be honest with you. But
they dug a false hole inside of this little water pit, and it stepped into it, and it fell, collapsed. They threw a grenade through the eye, it blew it up,
and that ends with
hasta la vista.
Cara Dune is gonna leave, and Mandalorian, he's talking about staying there for a while.
No, Cara Dune stays.
She does stay. Well, I mean,
he
was gonna leave.
He comes back later to that planet to find her.
It's the same planet. Oh, my bad. But
because she's basically like, I was here first.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
That's true.
And they were both going to stay there in that village, but a guild member shows up, tries to assassinate Baby Yoda.
Like for a hot second, I'm like, oh my god, they just killed Yoda.
Yeah,
or Baby Yoda, the child.
Gasping moment there.
They don't
for sure. Cara Dune took him out,
and that's when the Mandalorian realizes that he no matter where he goes, he's not safe. Like they're gonna find him.
Yep, they're gonna keep tracking him down, which leads us to our next episode.
Well, first of all, before we do that, this episode I think is where we first hear that the Mandalorian has not taken his helmet off in front of a living person since he was a child, since he was a foundling, since he was like 8 or so. We don't know how old he is.
And we kind of always assumed that he hadn't, that was a thing. Mandalorians don't take their helmets off, but this kind of gave us a little more insight into it.
There was a thirsty girl, you know what I'm saying, that clearly wanted the Mandalorian.
She wanted that Mando juice.
Yeah, that she did. And, I kind of thought he liked her as well, but
she wanted him to give her blue milk.
That's true. Anyway, next episode.
Yeah. So that leads us to our next thrilling adventure.
Another side quest for old Mandalorian.
Let's see. Was this the one where he goes to Tatooine and we've got all those awesome throwbacks?
This is the nostalgia episode.
Yeah.
There's so many throwbacks in this.
So many cool throwbacks.
It's freaking awesome.
So he gets to Tatooine.
Yes. Oh, well, first of all,
why does he go to Tatooine?
Starts out with a sweet space battle. That's why he goes to Tatooine.
Oh, yeah.
Some bounty hunter found him.
Finds him out in space.
Randomly. Mm-hmm. And there's a sweet space battle. He does this crazy thing where he, I don't know if he, reverse boosts his jet to, or his,
to make go the backwards. Ship, fly past him or whatever, and takes it out.
Just blast the motherfucker, and that was awesome. But
his ship sustains battle, right?
Yeah.
Or his ship sustains damage from the battle.
Yeah.
So he has to land on a planet. It happens to be Tatooine.
He lands in Mos Eisley, in what looks like the exact spaceport that the Mandalorian, or that the Millennium Falcon was chilling in episode 4. So that was really cool to see.
Leaves the little baby with this person who's going to fix his ship while he goes and looks for money. You told me, is it a director or is it a...
No, that was someone else. This lady I just found out today, researching for this podcast, is Amy Sedaris.
Amy Sedaris.
She's in a lot of little things, but I mean, I just watched Elf 2 days ago, and she's like the assistant to the father in Elf.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. She was someone that people was thinking someone was on The Masked Singer.
On The Masked Singer. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny.
Yes. Oh, shit. You're right. That is her. I just watched Elf recently, too. Holy fuck. Yeah. Okay. So, leaves the baby with her. Because he needs to go get money to fucking pay her for the repairs. Because he doesn't have fucking money. So, he's like, I'm going to go find work and I'll be back. And he goes to the cantina.
Yeah,
the cantina from episode 4. But I don't remember either. Mos Eisley Cantina.
It's a lot less busy these days. And looks like it's being run by droids, which the irony of that statement is not lost on me.
Right, exactly, because the bartender behind the bar is
we
a
don't
droid.
Serve their kind here.
Yeah, it's one of those same droids that...
episode 6, I think?
Yeah, when
the little, flapping mouth.
And he's the one who, His Excellency will have great use for you.
Yeah, in Jabba the Hutt.
Since his last translator failed him. And they're torturing that droid with the...
droid.
Yeah. He's behind the bar, which is weird because when the last time we saw this cantina... Hey, they're kind of unallowed in here. Your droids have to wait outside. Interesting.
Yep.
He goes and sits down, presumably what looks like the same exact booth.
We meet the gunslinger, I guess, because that's what this episode's called.
Right.
This bounty hunter named Toro Calican. I don't know, but he's posted up almost exactly like Han Solo was,
right.
And I think what is supposed to be the same booth.
It looks a lot
right
like
where
that same booth.
Greedo died after getting shot by Han without touching his blaster. Meaning Greedo did not shoot at Han and go fuck themselves.
Let's all make that very clear. Han shot first. So
cool.
Moving on, you know what? Just to rewind a little bit. We're talking about all this nostalgia and these things that are being brought back from some of the original movies. I don't know if you caught this, but I feel like it was maybe the second episode when they're. You know what? Actually, might be this episode. They're looking through. It is this episode. Never mind. So they're going out to find this bounty, right? Or from some crazy, awesome assassin who's legendary and super lethal. And I remember this. They're looking through these set of binoculars or whatever the Star Wars term for binoculars is, and they see Banthas. And the view of them looking through, oh, there's a bunch of Banthas down there, reminded me a lot of episode 4 when Luke is looking through the Banthas and all.
I thought the exact same thing was going to happen, where they pop up.
Pops up. Only you look to the left.
Approach, yeah. So the basis of this is this bounty hunter, Toro, wants to join the Bounty Hunters Guild. That's his main thing. He doesn't care about the money. He just wants to join the guild.
Right.
And he wants to track down this bounty.
Yeah.
Fennec Shand, played by Ming Hua Shen or something.
Ming Sha Wen, whatever.
Something. Sorry.
You know her from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And apparently she's this super deadly assassin that is everybody's looking for, or a lot of people are looking for. Can't find her, can't kill her because it's just too good. Mm-hmm. So he enlists the Mandalorian to help him do that, and was going to give him all the money as long as he got the glory.
Right.
So they do. They say in another throwback, at least a reference to something we'll talk about soon is that that we can find her out past the Dune Sea. Okay, and the Dune Sea is where the Sarlacc pit, the pit of Carcoon or whatever they call that. Is in the Dune Sea. So that's something for a little bit later. But they go out there, and we meet the Sand People.
Yes, you're right. You're right. So that scene where they're looking through the binoculars. Oh, there's a bunch of banthas down there, but I don't see any sand people. And then the sand person pops up and tries to kill Luke. Well, little different twist. It's almost the same thing, shot for shot of them looking through this scope to see the banthas, but this guy who wants to join the guild and what the fuck's his nuts looks to his left and sees Mando there with a couple of sand people. And they're basically going to help them find this target.
He just wants to essentially he negotiates with them on how to get through. Essentially like we want to go through your land, and he's like doing hand gestures, kind of something that I guess Anakin and Luke were both too stupid to be able to do. Even though Luke grew up on Tatooine, and you would think he'd
I don't know if it was stupid enough to Anakin do. He just wanted to kill them all because they killed his mom.
Okay, that's true. He's not stupid. He's just murderous. And so they end up getting passage through. Toro has to give up his binoculars. I said that weird. Binoculars.
His
binocs.
And
then they get passage through, and they find a dewback somewhere with a body trailing behind it.
Right, and they think it's the target, but it's not.
It's just
somebody that she killed, right?
She's hanging out in the distance with this long-range sniper rifle. Mm-hmm. Snipes his bitch ass, but the Beskar is Beskar, so it blocks it.
It's the best car.
The best Beskar. And
so they do their thing. They shoot a bunch of flares. They get up to her. They take her. Boom. They have got their bounty, right? However,
one of the speeders is blown up.
Yes. Mando has to go take this
back to that dewback,
and goes back and gets whatever repairs parts or something so they can get.
He's just getting the dewback so that they can put her back on, like so they can all go together.
That's right.
So while he's doing that, the bounty, Fennec, is manipulating.
Trying to talk her way out of.
I think she would have just sliced his throat open if he actually opened up the
cuffs.
Shackles.
Yeah.
So she's essentially saying, I'm pretty sure that's the Mandalorian that has a if you take this guy in, you will be a legend. And remember, that's all he wants. He just wants to get in that guild.
Right.
So
what's he do? Fucking kills her. I was like, oh damn!
I'm taking this glory. I don't need your bounty anymore, bitch.
Yeah, fuck you,
I have a new idea. So he hops on a speeder, spins away, leaves her out. Mando comes back on a dewback and is like, oh god damn it, and has to crawl his way all the way back with that slow ass dewback to Mos Eisley.
Finds this motherfucker sitting there with Baby Yoda.
It's like, throws up his another, I think, a flare, right?
Yeah, right.
Kills
ends
him
up shooting,
pretty easily.
Ends up shooting him. Yeah.
Kills him pretty handily. But
long story short, he kills the dude.
That's
takes
the
Baby Yoda,
or so we
takes
think.
off. Boom.
As we mentioned, this was out past the Dune Sea, right? So the next scene, and it ends the episode, is we see Boots walking towards this dead bounty, and it bends down, and it's over.
That's
nothing. We don't see anything else. Just Boots.
We do get a sound clip.
We get two sound clips.
Sound clips.
I'll try and post these in the show notes if I can remember.
No promises.
The first one was a little droid beeping. And we hear that exact same sound in episode 4 in the remake when Boba Fett walks on screen when Jabba and Han meet. Right.
And then we hear the noise of these boots walking and metal clanging together
like
as
spurs,
the boots are walking. Right? Yes, it sounds like boots with spurs on them. Right. Yeah. Which is the exact same sound again that we hear when Boba Fett walks on screen in episode 5.
When Han starts shooting at Darth Vader.
Yeah.
He pops around the corner, spurs. Exact same. Not similar.
No,
it's like they literally took
same.
that sound.
We did a comparison. The audio clip from those movies against the audio clip from this episode.
Exact same.
Same.
either it's Boba Fett or they really want us to think it's Boba Fett.
Yeah,
because they know nerds like us will see that shit.
Which, spoiler alert, we finished the season now. Still didn't find out what the fuck that was.
We'll probably find out next season, or it's just them laughing at us.
Yep, they're just trying to fuck with us. They're like, oh, Star Wars fans are gonna think this is so crazy, but it's actually nothing. Ha 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 ha. Fucking assholes. I'd like to think that Dave Filoni is better than that, but I guess we'll find out.
So that leads us to the next episode. So that's Chapter 6, The Prisoner. One of my favorites.
Definitely my favorite episode, I think. There's so many good episodes and so many good parts of the episodes, but this is definitely one of the cooler ones for me. One of the ones that kind of this was the badass episode that I was looking for to kind of show us, wow, the Mandalorian is. We knew he was for real, but he's for real. Like
he's not invincible, which we've seen, right? Like he gets hit. Luckily, he has Beskar, right? Because he gets hit with gunshots, and I mean, he almost died by the what's it called? The Mudhorn, you know. So he's definitely not invincible, but he's so badass. He still pulls it through. And in this episode, we're introduced to several new characters.
Of a taste of that badassness in this episode too.
A lot of these are like pretty. At least to me, I knew all of the characters that are in this, like all the cameos,
all the actors.
Yeah,
right. They're all new characters, but all the actors are pretty apparent.
Yeah. So we have Bill Burr, my favorite comedian, who is
awesome.
Mayfeld. He's the head of this group that Mandalorian meets up with.
Basically a predator version of a outer space bounty hunter. He's got like that gun thing on his shoulder.
Yeah, the guy. So Mandalorian meets up. I think he just needs money. Meets up with someone he used to run with.
Right.
This, I think his name's Ranzar Malk. He's played by Mark Boone Jr. from.
They don't like falafel.
Yes, from Batman Begins fame, and also Sons of Anarchy. He's the hairy fella. So, that's mainly what I know him from. But and he seems like an interesting character. So he gets together a crew to save a prisoner on a New Republic gun or prisoner ship.
Right. Again, the Mando just needs money.
Just needs money.
It's just another job.
And it's a 4-person job. So they use Bill Burr's character, Mayfeld. He heads it up with Mandalorian, as well as
which is interesting because Bill Burr is like been known to like not really like Star Wars.
Yeah, he always shits on Star Wars fans.
Always shits on Star Wars. But
so it was funny. Apparently, he was at a party at Jon Favreau's house, and was talking, and Jon Favreau essentially invited him to be on the show.
Yeah,
just like, do you want to be on the show?
Mm-hmm.
And his wife, Nia, you might know her from. Bill Burr's Monday Morning Podcast, or the Monday morning, or the Thursday afternoon just before Friday Monday Morning Podcast, one of those, because she's regularly on it, and she says, like, what are you doing? You have to do this. Like, you have to be in this. So,
which I mean, good call on her part.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I think
another of the characters is Jan.
Is that Tonks?
That is Tonks, played by Natalia Tena, I think.
So she's a Twi'lek. We know her from Harry Potter.
She's a magician.
Nymphadora Tonks.
And she's also a wildling in...
she's Asha.
Asha, yeah. In Game of Thrones. So, and she's an interesting character. I like her a lot. I want to see more of her because she kind of reminds me of like a Harley Quinn type of character. That's like...
Sort of, yeah.
Kind of like,
you know what?
Sexual...
That's a really good analogy, actually.
A badass, clearly. The way she handles her knives and shit.
Oh, yeah.
She gets Mandalorian in between the best.
Yeah, she's a lethal...
Yeah,
minx.
Yeah, she's fucking awesome.
Sure.
Then Berg,
we get Berg, who's just a super badass and incredibly strong motherfucking Devorian.
Yes, which is really cool to see the Devorians. Side note, I listened to, I can't remember the guy's name. He did. He's like one of the most famous makeup artists in the history of Hollywood. Like, he did like American Werewolf in London. He did a shitload of the Star Wars stuff in the Cantina. Like,
oh damn.
He was on Joe Rogan's podcast recently, and he was talking about that, and he got hired for that. And they essentially, a lot of the stuff that we see in the Cantina is stuff that he already did, that he just had laying around. So like the Devorian, like the wolf guy, all sorts of those are just remade. Just fun fact.
Wow. I did not know that. That is fucking awesome.
Yeah. And then so he's the Berg. He's this big badass dude played by Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown, famous voice from lots of different things. Several of them in Star Wars. One of which, the first one that comes to my mind is, oh my God,
Savage
Opress, Darth Maul's quote unquote brother in the Clone Wars, who ultimately gets his dick kicked in by Emperor Palpatine, our boy.
One of the best.
D. Sid.
Also from Shawshank Redemption.
And I remember you saying that. I haven't seen Shawshank in so long.
It's been a while.
I don't remember who he is. He's like a guard, right? He was also the voice of the leader of Lothal in Star Wars Rebels.
I can't remember his name.
I don't remember his name either, but he's just like an old white dude with. I mean, he looks exactly like what he looks like in real life, kind of.
Probably most famously is the voice of Mr. Krabs, which I did not know until looking him up.
Oh my gosh, that's right. He's Mr. Krabs.
Oh, and finally, the last one is the droid. I can't remember the droid's name. Shio or something? No, Zero, I think. Right?
What droid?
The droid, Zero is his name. Yeah. The droid that is piloting the ship. So they use the Razor's Crest because it's not on any of the, like, New Republic banned ships or whatever. Not from the Empire.
Yeah.
And it has some capabilities that I guess are illegal that they need. I don't know what it is. But they take the ship to a New Republic prisoner thing, which I think is cool. It's the first time we've seen like a New Republic ship.
Yeah.
And not that it's, not like a rebellion or a resistance, but an actual New Republic tech.
Yeah.
Kind of seemed like old Imperial tech, which would make sense if they're going to take over.
A little bit, yeah.
Utilize some things. So I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. And, they find Baby Yoda while they're chilling there and Bill Burr drops his ass.
He drops his ass. He drops
he's
Baby Yoda.
He's like, which
some of them dropping him.
Yeah, well, not really, but he's holding the Baby Yoda while the droid takes them out of hyperspace suddenly without telling them. He's like, and we're dropping, and he ends up like he holds on and the Baby Yoda falls. Bill Burr addressed that in his Monday morning podcast the week after.
What did he say?
He was like, first of all, I'm not going to talk about it, but I do have to clear my name. Because I did not drop the Baby Yoda. Like, you try standing in, hyperspace and then the droid suddenly drops out of it and you don't even know. You try holding on to a Baby Yoda. Something like that. It's hilarious.
Hey, he didn't punch it.
It's true.
Which we'll get to that. But
one of the things that I do love is he did imitate a Gungan, which was awesome to hear Bill Burr, of all people, imitate a Gungan.
That was hilarious. He's like mocking the Mandalorian when he's talking, right? And he's
like, are you a Gungan underneath that helmet? Because they're trying to take his helmet off.
Like, you sort of wanted to see your face or something along those lines.
And then another funny bit was when they first meet, he says that he was a former Imperial sharpshooter. And then the guy laughs at him. And then he's like, I wasn't a stormtrooper, wise ass. Or something like that.
There's so many good references that make fun of all the things that we've been making fun of as Star Wars fans since it came out. There's just so many things about this show that are just
amazing.
Are so amazing in so many ways that I can't even begin to describe. So they get to this. They get to this prisoner ship. They find the prisoner. It ends up being Tonks's brother,
Quinn,
right?
Kin, something like that.
The other thing that I do want to mention, that I do want to talk about, is there's one New Republic soldier aboard this vessel, which they thought it was supposed to be nobody there, right?
Yeah.
It's an unmanned vessel. And the guy who plays the only New Republic soldier on this prisoner ship is the voice of Anakin Skywalker in Clone Wars.
Matt Lanter.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Thought that was pretty cool that they were including some of the old people as random cameos in this.
Long story short. And he's the guy that presses the homing beacon, kind of like an emergency that notifies the New Republic.
Yes, right. Or the resist. Is it the New Republic or the Resistance? Or who is he? Okay.
So at that point, they're like, shit, we gotta go find this guy. They go find him. They betray Mandalorian. They push him in the thing, in the cell.
In the cell, lock him in there.
He's in there for a whole 3 minutes
before he escapes, and then
which I really like this, where they split up and he's tracking them down. It really reminded me of especially when he goes behind Bill Burr, right? behind Mayfield, Mayfield.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking Baker Mayfield. So every time I think anyway, so he goes behind, and it's like flashing lights behind him, and he's like disappearing and reappearing behind him.
Yeah.
And to me, that along with some of the other aspects of this really kind of seemed like a horror film. Like an old, like 80s horror film to me, and I just really like that. I thought it was cool.
The only difference is the person who's trying to kill all the people is the one you're rooting for.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, you're not rooting for Michael Myers? I mean, he has to kill his sister.
Yeah, but Jamie Lee Curtis was so hot back then.
She's dope.
Dude.
She's dope.
Anyway, one of the dopest sequences I think of this show. That was my favorite. Some of my favorite sequences was just him going through, and you don't see a lot, but that makes it so much more badass. You don't have to see what happens to know that he just destroyed that entire crew.
Yeah.
Which they kind of lead you to believe that he killed all of them. But at the end of the episode, you find out that he's so awesome that he didn't have to kill them. He was able to capture them and put them all in that cell.
And remember, he was in that cell for a whole 3 minutes. And the 3 of them could not get out.
The 4 of them. Because they got his brother.
No, he took the brother with him.
Oh, right, because he was the bounty.
Yeah.
That's right.
So he goes back to Mark Boone, Ranzar, back to the
original, the whatever space citadel that he went to begin with.
And he gives him over, and he flies off, and then lo and behold, the motherfucker was going to betray him. Told him to go kill him. But Mandalorian is a smart bitch. He found that tracking beacon, put it in Quinn, and as he's flying away, fucking Dave Filoni and a couple of the other directors cameo their asses into the X-Wings.
Fucking X-Wings. Which was
show up and
really
blast
cool.
That shit.
Really cool moment because, like, it's like an interesting perspective to see somebody who's about to get attacked by X-Wings. They lose their shit. They're like, oh my God, are those X-Wings? And we never really get that. We're just like, oh yeah, X-Wings. Mm-hmm. Like in all the other movies, it's just like, okay, yeah, cool.
They're terrifying to see.
Yeah. Coming at you like for somebody who's not like part of like one of the main armies that we see throughout all the different movies in Star Wars, that's like a terrifying thing to see. And obviously the 3 X-Wings come and just completely obliterate the...
Which sucks because I'd like to see more of that Mark Boone Jr. And I want to know more about this Quinn guy.
Which one was the Quinn guy?
He's the brother, the Twi'lek.
Yeah. I mean, there was some interesting plots to explore there, but oh well.
And that's pretty much that.
That was the prisoner.
Yeah, and that kind of wraps up the side quest, right?
Like, right. These were all kind of like going back to the whole video game thing. These were all the side quests. Now we're back to the main mission.
Yeah, and up until the next episode, Chapter 7,
we did our leveling up. We got our armor. We got our cool guns. Mm-hmm. We got all the little character feats that we had to get. Now it's time to go back to the main story.
And that was a criticism. People were saying that it's a show about nothing, where he's just flying around doing random things. And up until that point, I was like, I don't give a shit. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. I'm saying those people, fuck you.
That's next awesome. Episode, The Reckoning, kind of brings it all full circle, right? So in each episode, we kind of introduce to someone new, kind of seeing more of what he can do. Ooh, shit. Like you were talking about. Upgrading his armor and all sorts of shit, right? Yeah. And this kind of brings all full circle. So he gets a transmission from Grief Karga, the Apollo Creed.
Who's again Apollo Creed, the leader of the guild,
saying, hey, we come back to this planet. The Imperials are here. We'll make a trade. We'll deal with it. Everything will be fine. He kind of suspects it's a trap.
He would not be the intelligent badass we thought he was if he didn't suspect it was a trap, right?
So he goes and, again, brings it full circle and finds the people that we found or that we see throughout the series to kind of recruit them to help him out.
Right. He goes back to that jungle planet or whatever the hell it was to get Cara Dune. And should we see her beating the shit out of some...
As she does in the
Ithorian
ring and...
Zabrak?
Zabrak, Ithorian, I don't know.
I never really understood the difference between them, but...
He goes back to the planet where he found Baby Yoda, gets Quill. Lo and behold, that motherfucker found IG-11, rebranded him.
Right. He's a nurse droid now. He's no longer a hunter droid. Yeah. Which is super cool because I was a little disappointed that he was only in one episode and then that was it. Because I had liked... First of all, I love Taika Waititi. liked that we got the whole IG unit back into the mix and got to see what they were really capable of doing. So that was cool that they brought him back. But he went to go get Quill so that when they go back to obviously face the guild and whatever imps
And Imperials
are there waiting for them, that somebody could be there to watch the baby. And that was Quill.
and bringing back these characters that while we were barely introduced to them, we kind of, I don't know, I like them. I think they're cool.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't buy Cara
Definitely.
Dune's Force or like Black Series action figure. I kind of want to now.
I
You know what I mean?
kind of want to now too. I didn't know that they had one.
I want a Bill Burr one so bad.
Oh, you know that they're gonna make one.
Yeah. Anyway, so they go back to the planet. They meet up with Grief and his a couple stooges that he has hired, and they're trekking back to the city. And they get attacked by Minox, maybe? I don't know, like pterodactyls, something. I have no
Dude.
idea what they are.
Those are not fucking Minox.
Yeah.
Mi-
No,
they're not
I
little
see
tiny
flying
little
things, I think Minox.
bat creatures who were
Those things were like
eating on the power
pterodactyl
lines.
motherfuckers.
No, these things were these things were like
Pokemon
fucking
or some shit.
dragons.
So they, they fuck them up. They kill a couple of the guild members and really do a number on Grief. They slice that bitch right open.
Well, let's
on his
talk
arm.
about the saddest part is they carry one of the blurgs
I know.
away.
And that's what gets you to really like Quill is that like he was genuinely concerned. Like he's like, no, put them down, and like starts to shoot at him. And one of them gets away. He does save another one, which is
Quill's
cool.
a really good, pure-hearted character, and it just gets you right in the feels sometimes. Some of the things that he does. But yes, Grief Targa gets fucked up by one of these. Whatever the fuck their dragon things that they're called, they're pretty menacing.
He's about
Obviously,
to
there's
die.
some
The
sort of
poison's spreading,
poison,
dude. The poison is spreading. He's about to die, and
and
then Baby Yoda comes over to eat him.
which we didn't really touch on this earlier, but there was another moment earlier on in the season where is after the Mudhorn attack, where Mandalorian is hurt. And Baby Yoda jumps down out of his little cradle and tries to heal him.
Touch him.
We assume he's trying to heal him. We're like, oh my god, this is gonna be awesome. And he just keeps picking him back up and putting him back in his little crib thing, right? So we don't get to see it. This time, luckily enough, we have Quill there. And Baby Yoda gets down out of his cradle again, and he goes over to do his little Baby Yoda thing. And they're like, get that thing out of here. And Quill's like, no, wait. And he fucking puts his hand on Grief Targa and fucking heals the motherfucker.
That poison's no longer in his system. He's fine.
As the wound never happened.
Yeah, it's awesome. First time we've ever seen it.
Yes.
Granted, the next day we'll see it 3 more times, but we've never seen it before that.
Which, obviously, there were a couple of reasons that episode came out the day before Rise of Skywalker did. The big one being you don't want the conflicting, revenue with the new movie coming out. However, we see Rey do that exact same motherfucking thing 24 hours later in Rise of Skywalker.
Awesome.
Anyway, Baby Yoda heals him.
They
The
move
night
on,
ends. They move on. They go to the town.
and they were about to get blasted from behind before by the guild members.
So the trap gets revealed, right?
Yeah, it was
these guys are
a
gonna
trick.
fuck them over. They're gonna kill them.
But Grief kills his people,
Mhm.
and it's like, yo, like this was a trap.
We were gonna kill you.
I have a change of opinion now because this motherfucker saved my life.
Right.
So I want to save him, essentially.
Yep.
And he doesn't say it in those words, but that's
Which I really
the gist.
liked because I was kind of upset that I like Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
I wanted him to like be like a cool character that I could like. And then after the first couple episodes, I was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
He's a dick.
I was hoping he died.
But it was kind of this whole redemption thing, which I thought was really cool. And I like being
Their
able to
story
like
arcs are
his
pretty good.
character. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he kills his dudes. They devise another plan to go and quote unquote fake deliver the Baby Yoda to the client, as he's called. And Quill hauls ass back to the Razor Crest with Baby Yoda on
his blurg.
on his
The
blurg.
remaining blurg.
On the remaining blurg. They go. They sit down with the client. There's way more stormtroopers there than obviously that they were.
It's kind of funny.
fucking
They
expecting.
kept talking about 4. Because before, he said 4-1. I like those odds. He always
Well,
travels with 4
Obviously, Grief
stormtroopers.
Talker was lying to them. Because he didn't want them to know how many stormtroopers there initially.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to trap them and kill them and do all this
there's
shit. But
way more than 4 inside of the cantina.
More than 4. They sit down.
And he I want to see the baby. That was more like Irish. I don't know what the fuck that was. That's why I just don't do accents. I thought I'd give it a shot. He wants to see the baby.
I like the effort. It's good.
And he can't show him. But they're saved because there's an incoming transmission. He has to go see it because he can't leave.
Who's the transmission from, Aaron?
Gus Fring?
Gus Fring, yes.
Yeah, the meth dealer.
Yeah. Not Dos. Los Pollos Hermanos. Thank you.
Chicken brother. He's one of the chicken brothers. Famous chicken brothers.
Famous chicken brothers. Moff Gideon.
He says essentially like, we have the baby in our possession, and Moff Gideon's all like, you might want to look again. And he turns around, and then all of a sudden, motherfucker gets blasted. The client's dead. Werner Herzog, one of my favorite new characters with his awesome voice, is dead.
I just love listening to him talk.
Awesome.
I'm just pissed off. I didn't really like him as a character. He was kind of a scumbag, and obviously anybody who tries to put harm to Baby Yoda, I want to die. But just listening to him talk was just such a pleasure.
It was awesome.
And very satisfying. But Moff Gideon just comes and wipes him out along with all the other stormtroopers who were there. And I was like, aren't these like your people, dude?
Yeah.
And he's trying to help you get
crazy.
the baby. You're clearly a psychopath. We're clearly dealing with a lunatic here, right?
Very much so. They really do set that up. And a shock, I did not see this coming. Fucking Death Troopers.
I was just about to say that. So they wipe out the cantina, blow a hole in the side of the thing. It's only Cara Dune, Grief Karga, and Grief Karga. And Mando left with this empty carriage inside that they think Baby Yoda was in, but it's not. It's just them. And then you look outside, and there's platoons of stormtroopers along with like 6 Death Troopers who we have not seen since Rogue One, which is where they were introduced. So it was really dope to see them back in action, and they did not disappoint either. Even in the following episode, like they were badass. They were really fucking cool. I don't regret buying an action figure of them.
They're fucking awesome. And what happens?
Right. So, that's not how it ends.
No, it's not how it ends because Mandalorian's all like, "Yo, Quill, did you get the baby back? Is the baby safe?" Like on the transmission,
on the comm link.
And these 2 scout troopers hear the message. They realize what's going on. They get on their scout or
their speeder bikes. And obviously, much faster than a blurg.
Much faster than a blurg. Much faster than a berg. No, they are much faster. They catch up. Unfortunately, may he rest in peace. Quill dies.
Fucking kill him.
And they
scoop up Baby Yoda.
That motherfucking baby.
And back to the city. Boom. Cliffhanger.
And we had a whole week and a half, dude. That sucked. It was nice to get the episode early, but then it sucked to have to wait a week and a half after that.
It did suck to have a week and a half, but we had Star Wars Rise of Skywalker to kind of hold us over, which, again, we'll talk about that in a later episode.
We'll talk about it later.
Huge cliffhanger. Now, we just saw the season finale.
Today's episode that we just watched.
Which, everything about it was fantastic.
I fucking loved it, dude. Oh my God.
Let's start with the beginning. Probably the funniest part of the whole entire season. The 2 scout troopers who now have the Baby Yoda, right? They're coming back to town. They stop at the outskirts and they're like, "Hey, is it cool to bring Baby Yoda back in? We got it." And they're like, "No, hold there. Moff Gideon just came in and killed a bunch of people, so we don't want to piss him off." And we just get this hilarious interaction between these 2 scout troopers. Multiple things happen. We get this little sequence where they're just sitting there waiting. So they're bored. So they take out their little pistols, their blaster pistols, and they're trying to shoot this thing that's in the sand. And they can come nowhere close to it. And they're looking at their blasters, shaking
the guy like pulls out his, and he's like, "I got it.
I got it. Let me try this." And they start shooting it.
They just look at it,
and they look at each other, and they just kind of shrug, and then they put their blasters. Hilarious, obviously making fun of the fact that stormtroopers couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Gonna hit water if they fell out of a boat.
We already had some of that earlier with Bill Burr. I'm not a stormtrooper.
Right. Just feeding off of that mockery. Hilarious.
And to me, that's like good humor, right?
It's fantastic.
It's so much better than what happened in like The Last Jedi. You know, paging General Hugs. Like, stupid.
That's
that
like
shit was stupid.
forced humor, and
This
it's not
was-
funny in places where it doesn't need
like-
to be funny. Like this was
Needed
genuine,
to be there.
funny. It was funny in a way that was refreshing. Didn't feel like it was forced to be there just to in the sake for being funny. It was awesome,
And turns out one of those was played by Jason Sudeikis.
which doesn't surprise me that it was
pretty
so funny.
I knew, like, I could recognize the voice of one of those, but when I went to look it up on IMDb,
He was the one who's like, I understand it. Do you?
Yeah.
That was him. Like he was that had to be
the
it.
humor that they had between the two of them was like hilarious,
Hysterical.
Like, I don't want to die.
I want to
You
go
wanna
back
die?
and
I don't
watch it.
wanna- yeah.
That's that part again. Also, however, they are probably going to be the most hated characters in all of Star
yes.
Wars because
No,
they
fuck
both
them. They
took
suck.
turns punching Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
In the little satchel
One
that
of
they
the
had him in because he wouldn't
Jason
stop.
smacked him a couple times,
Yeah.
and then the other one wanted to see him. He's like, "No, you just want to see him." So he looked at him. Baby Yoda bit his finger, so he decked him right in the face.
Yeah.
Bitch.
They're going to go down as the most hated characters in all of Star Wars
Jason,
history,
like Jason
without a doubt.
Sudeikis, cannot leave his house for the next 24 hours.
Honestly, Ahmad Best should be like having a sigh of relief right now because he's no longer the
Yes.
scourge of fucking Star Wars fandom. It's these two motherfuckers for assaulting the cutest
That's
thing
funny.
that we've
You should
ever
tweet
seen.
that. That's pretty funny.
But that was hilarious, right? And that's just like the intro to the episode, right? And then we go back and we find our three heroes sitting in the cantina that has just been newly destroyed. And Moff Gideon's outside making all these crazy threats. He brings up this big ass fucking turret and threatens
what
them
is
and
it,
all
the
this shit,
E-Web,
right?
like, I believe the E-Web is utilized in episode 5.
It is?
The snow troopers come in and they bring that, like, the little thing. But this apparently is the predecessor.
Is a
Predecessor?
no, the one. It was
successor.
its predecessor. It's the successor. Yeah,
There we go. I
So
know.
it's like
I know
a more advanced version of it.
Yeah. So, you know, it's something. And he meant. Oh, actually, let's talk about Moff Gideon. He's out there talking, and he brings up. He mentions Cara Dune by name, her full name, who we find out here that she's actually from Alderaan, which is dope.
Yeah,
which kind of explains
right. Why she hates the Imperials so much
She
because
wanted
they
to kill them.
destroyed her home fucking planet.
Makes sense. Like
Yes.
that. I think that's a good call. He mentions Greef Karga. Talks about
By
him.
name, knows exactly who he is. Most importantly, we hear him utter the name of the Mandalorian for the very first time in the season. And his name was...
Robert Paulson. No, it's Din Djarin. Din Djarin, I think. Djarin? It's like Djarin.
Din Djarin, yeah.
Din Djarin.
Din Djarin.
Yeah.
Din Djarin, yeah.
So.
And we get a
first time
little
we hear-
flashback.
Yes, we get to see it more, and we find out that he was saved. Because earlier we see flashbacks, which kind of lends to... So, throughout the series, throughout the season, there's times when Mandalorian looks like he hates droids, right? He doesn't want the fancy droid... the fancy droid Uber to pick him up. He wants
The droid Uber.
you
On
know,
the ice
shitty-
planet at the
yeah,
very
the ice
beginning, he
planet.
wants the... Yes.
He
Right.
repeatedly talks about how he hates droids. He doesn't like the IG droid at first.
Which we kind of know why, because we see little glimpses of flashbacks which go all the way back to the Clone Wars. We see droid ships, we see super battle droids,
Which was dope.
super
First
dope.
time seeing those, like
Like
live
actually,
since episode 3, probably. Yeah. Maybe episode 2?
Were they
I
in
don't know.
episode 3? Whatever.
Either way.
These were actually
Menacing
again
motherfuckers.
menacing. In episode 2 and 3, they're just like kind of whatever.
They just get hit once and they die, blah, blah, blah. But
Right.
These
These
things
were
look
actually
terrifying.
like terrifying, and we see them killing assumingly where he grew up, his village, and ultimately his parents. But we get a much more put together flashback of what actually happened to him when his parents died and how he was rescued. And turns out he was rescued, obviously, by the Mandalorians. We kind of knew that, but specifically
by the Death Watch.
Right.
Yes. Now, I didn't notice that. You did notice it.
You
saw this
had an
insignia, right?
inkling. I was like, I wonder if that's the same Mandalorian troop from the Clone Wars. We looked it up afterwards, and you had mentioned Death Watch, and I was like, damn, I thought that might have been them. So Death Watch, for those of you who don't remember, was led by Pre Vizsla, funny enough, voiced by Jon Favreau.
Yep.
in the Clone Wars, and they were trying to take over the planet of Mandalore from Duchess Satine, a.k.a. Obi-Wan Kenobi Slampiece.
Alleged.
Alleged.
All right.
He also, at the time, wielded the dark saber. So that was really cool that they kind of had that like little throwback. Oh, the Death Watch, they're bringing that back in. They're the ones that ultimately saved Din Djarin, who we now know as the Mandalorian, quote unquote. Mando. So we see that whole little flashback, get his name reveal. Super cool.
Long story short, though, they're in there. They're trapped. The E-Web is hanging there. They try to escape through the sewers. They can't open it. But they have a savior. And it's ironic that their savior is a droid, because we just said he hates droids, and they're saved by a droid because IG-11 killed those fuckers that were beating on
punching Baby Yoda. We got the justice very quickly, which I thought they should have.
One of the best scenes, in my opinion, of the series, where IG-11 is driving through this city with. Well,
so he takes one of the speeder bikes, right?
Yes,
from the
on the speeder bike
scouts that he fucks up,
and it's just blasting bitches. And in my head, I didn't say it when we were watching it, but I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, dude, like they could shoot the Baby Yoda, right? Like it's out in front.
Yeah.
And as soon as 20 seconds later,
enter your mind,
he essentially spins his body away, and right where Baby Yoda was gets blasted, but he's not there anymore. And
right,
as a droid, he doesn't get killed by blasters, I guess. But
and we also see Baby Yoda's gleeful giggles while he's
so adorable,
blasting through the city on the speeder bike.
Who doesn't giggle when you have a droid protector destroying stormtroopers with you? I mean, everybody does. Everybody giggles.
So IG-11 kicks fucking ass. He is a nurse droid, but showing out those hunter props like he has in there, protecting Baby Yoda.
Protecting Baby Yoda.
He's protecting Baby Yoda. Yeah,
that's what I expect my nurse to do when I have a kid in the future.
Yeah.
To be an assassin as well,
of course, and to give the occasional blowjob. But he comes in and he destroys. These views are not officially reflected, but kills all these motherfuckers. Basically, saves the three guys who were in the cantina that got blasted.
Mando gets destroyed essentially.
Yeah, so he goes out. He takes that
E-Web, right? He's blasting that shit.
He doesn't just hit. He rips the thing off of the fucking stand, and it's just holding it like a badass, just fucking blasting motherfuckers. And then Moff Gideon comes and shoots him. Intelligently knows that he can't actually kill him with the blaster because he's got Beskar all over his fucking body. Shoots the generator, the power source, the generator for the gun.
He gets
massive
wrecked.
Explosion. Mando gets
lots of blood,
fucked up a lot. They yank him into the cantina,
and we find out that he has blood kind of dripping out the back of his helmet. He Kara wants to take the helmet off to save him, and he essentially says, "You do that, I'll fucking kill you. I'll try."
Super gung ho. He's like, "Leave me there. I'd rather die than
give me the warrior
dishonor my oath to the Mandalorian cult."
So the droid finds a way to get into the sewer. Greef and Kara go. IG-11 is like, "Yo, I'm gonna save you," and he's like, "Nobody alive is seeing my helmet." And then the droid.
Well, you're skipping a major. The flame trooper comes. And tries to torch the whole fucking thing. He comes in through the back door, goes to torch it, and again we get another amazing Baby Yoda moment where he jumps out of his thing and stops the fire with the Force, pushes the fire back at...
Flicks that shit, dude. He
flicks
his little
little finger, destroys the stormtrooper, and makes a huge explosion, which is then allowing them to get away,
to escape,
through the sewers. And then IG does
IG-11 is all like, "Yo, I'll help you out." And Mando says, nobody alive seen my face. And the droid's like, "Yo, I'm a droid.
I'm not alive.
I'm not alive, dude."
So it's cool.
Makes sense. Pulls his fucking helmet off. And who do we see?
Oberyn Martell,
dude. Oberyn fucking Martell. Also the dude from Narcos, season 3.
Crazy. We finally I didn't think we were actually going to get to see Pedro Pascal's face.
It's cool to see his face, yeah. So that was cool. We got to see his face. He sprays some sort of Bacta
makes a
healing
funny
thing.
brain droid joke. They
Yeah.
go into the sewer. They find Cara Dune and Grief Karga with Baby Yoda.
They find the armor. They're going in the sewers because that's where the Mandalorians were.
Right. The whole plan is
they all
the
die.
Mandalorians will help us escape.
The Imperials
Lo and behold,
apparently came in, wiped their bitch asses out again. Great Purge version 2.0. And
there's a pile of Mandalorian armor in the middle of the sewer.
Somehow the armor lady that made the Beskar survived. Gives
the Mandalorian blacksmith.
I like this scene a lot. I thought this scene was pretty cool because it she's almost like a mom sort of person, right?
Sort of, yeah.
Like, look, you got to do this. You are now that's now your foundling, right? So this is now your mission. You have no other purpose other than to take care of this thing. You have your signet or whatever, which is again, it is the Mudhorn.
Ends up being the Mudhorn eventually,
because they're a clan of two, right? Earlier on he didn't take the Mudhorn because he said, "I didn't kill it, someone else did." I was helped.
I didn't earn the kill.
It was helped by his clan member, which is Baby Yoda. So they have I actually thought the signet was pretty dope looking.
Sweet looking, dude. Yeah, I can't wait.
She puts that on his shoulder and then ends up
can't
giving
wait till they
him,
merchandise that motherfucker.
I know. Right? Ends up giving him a jetpack, which is dope. The first time he gets a jetpack.
And it alludes to that after the third episode, the Sin episode, when the Mandalorians come and they fuck him up, and then he's leaving the planet, and then the Mandalorian's like flying next to him. He's like, I gotta get me one of those, and he does, and he gets one.
It's pretty dope. And
Sweet.
then she essentially says, "Look, it's your mission. You got to do this."
Baby Yoda is his foundling.
Essentially, you're Baby Yoda's dad. So go take care of this bitch.
Right. So they leave her there to fend for herself against the Imperials, which turns out she doesn't need any protecting because she's a fucking
badass motherfucker, dude.
The shit out of them.
With a hammer and a pair of pliers.
Yeah, that's it. That was it. That was all she needed. Super badass. Can't wait to see more from her. Go to this river of lava where they're trying to escape out through the sewer, right?
This creepy ass droid pops out of nowhere with legs.
Basically R2-D2 with arms and legs.
It's kind of cool.
Cool,
creepy,
but also weird. Highly unexpected moment.
They go out. Mandalorian ends up seeing that there's stormtroopers waiting. What's his face?
Right outside the opening of the lava. Yeah.
Right. They're about to escape, but the Imperials, they saw it, so they were there waiting.
Right.
IG-11 does what IG-11 does.
He had to self-destruct.
He's a badass.
Which again,
tries to initiate.
We didn't mention this earlier, but he tried to self-destruct in the beginning, the first episode, because he thought that they were going to get killed.
That was some of the humor that they were bringing into it too back then. He's initiating a self-destruct sequence, and then Mando was like, "No, stop doing that."
Yeah,
it's kind of funny.
But he did it for real this time.
Kills all those motherfuckers. They get out,
hits us in the feels, and Mando actually cares. We find out that Mando actually cares about a droid. He actually had feeling. He was sad.
He's like, "You're sad," because he says, "You can't do that."
And he's like, "Don't be sad." Like, I'm not sad. Yes, you are. I'm a nurse droid. I analyzed your voice.
I was like, damn. He's, that's a character arc right there.
Kicked us in the feels.
That's him getting to start to like droids, and that's pretty cool. I like that.
Kicked us in the feels. Anyway, he goes out, jumps in the lava, walks out, self-destructs, blows up all the Imperial troops who are waiting there to kill them. They get out. However, Moff Gideon, fucking cock-sucking little bitch with his TIE fighter, meth-loving fuck with his TIE fighter, not made of crystal meth, comes down and starts blasting at him. They're like, "Oh shit, we're fucked." And Mandalorian's like, no, we're not." Puts on his jetpack.
Straps on his jetpack.
All of a sudden, his cape turns into the little awesome cape that Boba Fett fucking had.
Did it? Was it like off to the side?
It was like off to the side. You didn't notice that? Because it was a full cape that was just like a hole. But he puts his jetpack on, and all of a sudden, it's like a shoulder cape, like a Boba Fett shoulder cape. And I was like, "Oh, that's sick."
Put it off to the side.
Puts it on, flies in the air, attaches himself to the fucking TIE fighter, blows it up, it crashes, and then he safely lands back down on the ground. Super badass fucking awesome moment. Bounty hunter, not a bounty hunter. Well, bounty hunter, but a Mandalorian with his jetpack taking down a TIE fighter.
Peak Star Wars.
One of the cooler moments.
Peak Star Wars right there.
Dude. One of the
That's
cooler
something you
moments.
see in a cartoon that you wish you had seen in live action that we finally got to see.
Oh, absolutely. Awesome. It was fucking amazing. So,
long story short, he pieces out. He goes on a ship. leaves.
Goes to do his thing. Cara
Cara
Dune,
Dune and
Grief Karga, stay there.
Because
to
like
start
the
up.
heroes are done. Like
Heroes are done. They're
Gideon
gonna
just
start
died,
up the
dude.
guild
He's
again.
crashed. All the
presumably,
stormtroopers
right?
are dead.
Right?
Why not just stick around and hang out? It's a good city.
And it's the Mandalorian's job to either train this Baby Yoda or return it to its family or homeworld. Like those are the two options.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
because that's what the forger chick. Mm-hmm. So like you either have to return it to its homeworld where it belongs, or you have to raise it, train it, and it'll become a member of the clan. So he goes up to do that. Cara Dune, Grief Karga stay there happily ever after, right?
Wrong.
Because
guess what? Not only within 1 week, a week and a half, we saw 4 Force heals, right? 1 from Mandalorian, 3 from Rise of Skywalker, and we saw 2 TIE fighters get destroyed, yet their pilots survive. Rise of Skywalker, that happens.
That's true.
That happens. And Moff Gideon survives and pops out of that bitch.
Spoiler alert. Ooh!
How's he do it, Sean? How's he pop out of that bitch?
He uses a sort of laser sword that happens to be black. I think we all know it as the Dark Saber.
Fucking Dark Saber. Holy shit,
Fucking
dude.
whips out his Dark Saber and cuts through...
Fucking awesome.
Well, first of all, so... Aaron, you... unfortunately, were spoiled.
I was.
By an
Google News
annoyingly notification that you found on your phone.
Well, it's actually, I use Google News, like the app, and I have the widget on the homepage, and it like tailors news to you, right?
And you saw the word Dark Saber.
All I saw was Dark Saber. I was like, oh, son of a bitch. Oh, god damn it.
So I was oblivious. Obviously, I didn't think Moff Gideon had died. It crashed. There was an explosion. He was going to live. Very end of the episode, it goes to the crashed TIE fighter. And you see something cutting through the metal. And I was like, oh, he's cutting his way out of the thing. And the longer I went on, I'm like, oh my God. He's not cutting through that with just any tool.
Yeah,
that is the motherfucking Dark Saber. AKA the symbol of power for the Mandalorians.
Legends have it that it was made by I can't remember the
Vizsla,
name.
Something Vizsla.
Who was a Jedi, but also a Mandalorian. First and only, I think, many, many years ago, and has been passed down to the Vizslas. Pre-Vizsla had it in the Clone Wars, and I believe Darth Maul
had it at one point. Yep.
And then it changed hands into somehow, I forget which. We'll cover this later when we rewatch.
Many years passed.
Yeah.
And until Sabine Wren eventually had it.
She gave it to Bo-Katan, I believe, who was a Mandalorian, like the leader of the Mandalorians at that point, right?
Yep. She was. Yeah. It was like supposed to be Sabine Wren, who was the leader because her family was like royalty, but she decided to leave and go help Ezra and all them. So she passed it on.
So last we knew, Bo-Katan had it.
Yep.
Had it, and we don't know anything about it after that.
We do know that the purge happened, and that we know that Gideon was an ISP officer during the purge. So assumingly, when that purge happened, he found it and took it for himself, and he's still had it up to this point. Apparently.
Now, interesting thing that I saw afterwards is that Katie Sackhoff is she's an actress. She was in, I think, most famously in Battlestar Galactica.
Oh,
you would recognize her if you saw her. She's the voice of Bo-Katan in Rebels.
Oh,
and she posted like a cryptic tweet like a month ago saying something along the lines of,
Jesus.
The highest point of my career just happened. I can't wait for you guys all to find out, right? And I mean, she looks like she could play this person in live action. So
shit.
Whether or not it's like a flashback, something like that, I don't know. And again, speculation. We have no idea, but that'd be pretty cool.
Damn.
So that kind of wraps up The Mandalorian season 1, and overall feelings. I loved it. Again, I think it's the best thing that we've seen Star Wars wise, in my opinion, since Solo, Rogue One, and the original trilogies. Like, I don't know.
I think it might be even better than those, man. It just gave us so many things in so many good ways that I really, there's a famous saying: no one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
Yes.
And I can't really think of anything to complain about. About this TV series. It's fantastic in so many ways. It has given us so many justifications as fans. It's given us so many things that we wanted.
It's connected,
and given us things that we didn't know that we wanted.
That's my biggest thing with the trilogy. Is it's like the latest trilogy is that doesn't seem cohesive. This is cohesive. This has connections with past Filoni projects, and they're bringing it full circle. So far, I'm just loving it. I think. It seems Star Wars. They're doing the nostalgia right. Like they're not overly doing it. They're not they're not rerunning storylines like Episode 7 has.
Right.
They went to Tatooine and showed us a lot of that stuff. But it's a new story. They're not.
It's a new story.
Jedi. Like it's all new characters. There's not a single character in this that I can think of.
Which, speaking of Jedi, it's interesting, and I brought this up to you earlier, but it's interesting that like. Nobody knows what Jedi are. Like
it is interesting.
When they were seeing Baby Yoda's powers, they're like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Only Quill knew. And the first time, actually, we kind of skipped over this in the episode 8 when they meet the armorer. They talk about Baby Yoda, and she says, there are people that have this power.
I've heard of these. Yes.
Long ago, we fought against these sorcerers called Jedi, right?
Which basically canonizes the Mandalorian War, which is the basis for Knights of the Old Republic, the video game.
So for those not familiar, with Knights of the Republic, the original video game, the Mandalorian Wars started by Mandalorians. Mm-hmm. They were just
they're a warrior race. I mean,
the galaxy,
yep,
taking over planets, and a band of Jedi were like, we can't have this happen. The Republic wasn't really doing much. Yep. The Jedi weren't involved. So
one of those Jedi were Jedi. Yep, Revan
fought back, won, and in the meantime, he turned to the dark side, and that's kind of the basis of Knights of the Republic.
The whole video game. So they're basically canonizing
that,
and
we've had Malachor canonized. Mm-hmm. We've had Mandalore canonized. Mm-hmm. I think.
Mandalore was canonized back during the Clone Wars.
Yeah, Clone Wars. You're right. Yep. And then we've had just with Episode 9, Revan
canonized.
So,
yep.
For those not familiar with that,
very small detail. If you watch the movie, you wouldn't know it.
Yeah, no, it's something with the visual book that they always do with each one.
Yep.
There's the Sith troopers. There's a
different
legion,
legions,
like the 501st, mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. With the Empire, there is a Revan legion.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool.
Officially canonized. So lots of interesting facts.
Yeah, and
coming out of the last week.
I know. I just there's still so many questions I have, like minor things like why was Baby Yoda even in that place? Why couldn't the Empire just go there?
Very good question. The Empire's got obviously all those assets. Why not just?
Why did they have him? Like, why were they? Like, did they know that he was something special?
Right.
Why didn't they sell him? Why wouldn't they sell him?
Moff Gideon is clearly obsessed with getting this thing. Why?
And I don't know. That's all. That's hopefully something they answer in next season.
You know what I'm most excited to, and what's excited me most about this is that we know so little about Yoda and his species. We don't even know the name of his species. It has not even been yet to have been named. I think 40 years later.
Well,
and we don't have a name for his species.
I thought they were Wills, right? The WHIL. So the original Star Wars script was called the Journey of the Wills or something like that, right? And I recall at one point Yoda being called a Will, not canonically or anything like that, but that's what I thought his species was. Going on Wikipedia, that's not the case right now. It's something unknown.
As of right now, we don't know.
Chirrut from Rogue One, I'm one with the Force is with me.
Oh, yeah.
He's a
Will.
The Guardian of the Wills.
Guardians of the Wills.
So I don't know if they're going to tie into that at all. It might be they might rename it something completely different. Who knows? I don't know. But that's interesting. I hope they dive into more of that. I hope they... Well, I want to see more Moff Gideon. Obviously, we will.
We will.
To me, he's
clearly.
It's literally Gus Fring flying a TIE fighter.
With a fucking lightsaber.
It's fucking awesome. Like, it's terrifying because he's so good, and he has like a Hitler stash. Like, it just put all that together into this terrifying, menacing villain, and I think it's awesome because the way he delivered. Because in Breaking Bad, when he would get mad, that was terrifying.
Oh, horrifying!
Right?
It was like that scary. It was chilling. Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm excited about him. I want to see more of him.
Listen, bottom line, anything that Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau do in the future, I'm fucking game.
I exactly. Like, I saw people saying that they absolutely killed it. We need to give them a trilogy. Like, no, keep doing this. Keep doing this. Make this awesome. Don't
put. You know what? You know what the problem is? It's all of these fucking high-level execs saying, "Oh, you did this really really good. We're gonna force you to do something that we want you to do." No. Let them do what they want to do because they're clearly good at doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And they want to do it. You know,
that's just like the whole D&D thing. Like, oh, they did Game of Thrones good for 7 seasons. They fucked up the 8th one. Well, so let's give them the trilogy. Yeah. No, they don't.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I'm glad that they decided to not do that. But don't force it on. Let them do. Dave Filoni has proved that he is fantastic at doing what he does. Let him keep doing what he wants to do because he's amazing at it and he's making you lots of money.
I agree. Yeah. Like, I can't wait. Speaking of Dave
Speaking of the wait,
Jon Favreau, season 2 was announced. Well, not announced.
We knew they were working on it. Yeah. Officially confirmed fall 2020.
And so that was confirmed by Jon Favreau. Tweeted it out today. Alongside, interestingly enough, I'm sure it's not a coincidence, but with a picture of a Gamorrean guard from episode 6, right? Jabba's guards, those big pig
without
fuckers.
Any armor. He looked a little weird, but
weird. But I mean, clearly they're gonna bring that back.
The Gamorreans are back.
Cool. Yep. Is it gonna be Hutt related? I don't know. Would be kind of interesting.
It would be very interesting because I
after Jabba
thought the Hutt line ended with Jabba. Based on what we've seen from other stuff. I mean, Zero, Gardola, Baby Hutt. We don't really know what happened to Baby Hutt.
I mean, they're from what, Nar Shaddaa or no, Nal Hutta? I don't know.
Nal Hutta.
Something like that.
Not Nar
Shaddaa. Who knows what's gonna happen with it? And I can't wait. So we only have a good 10 months. Wait. So we'll see.
We'll see. But I'm very satisfied.
We'll get news from the Obi-Wan series coming out. We'll get news about this season 2. We have the Cassian Andor or K2SO that series coming out.
Is that coming out before season 2 of Mandalorian?
Last I heard, there was some sort of trouble with that, but who knows?
Because that was announced way before Mandalorian was announced.
I think they were announced together.
Were they?
I think Mandalorian was announced first. It was announced way before Obi-Wan was, but I haven't heard much about it.
I haven't heard much either, so it's interesting to see where that would go. But ultimate feelings, Mandalorian was fantastic. I can't wait for the next season.
Agreed. And I think that pretty much wraps this up. If you guys, want to tweet us any of your thoughts and what you think about the Mandalorian series.
Don't, because we don't look at them.
Don't tweet, don't add us about any problems with Disney Plus, because it's not my fault, unless it's Android or Amazon Fire, in which case, still don't add us. All right. But I think that pretty much wraps it up. I think we're going to call it a day, and we'll be back with some more content in 2020. Have a good one, guys.
Peace. Happy New Year.